Welcome back, guys. Alright, so if you're watching this one, you've probably just watched a previous video on my PSA GF4-E AK and range strip, getting it all zeroed and tried out. I wanted to kind of do a final thoughts video on it, and is it ever really final thoughts? I mean, there's probably going to be more down the road anyway, especially longer term, but we're going to use the word for now. I also wanted to do this when I'm back inside and I've got less distractions going on with the wind blowing in the camera and the big bright ball of fire up there blazing down and doing all those kind of things. Sometimes it's a little easier to convey more pointed thoughts. So I eventually missed it. This is my Palmetto State Armory GF4-E AK. Just to recap on it, it's PSA AK. It has one of their cold hammer forged chrome lined barrels in it. I got this as a barreled receiver, and what that means is you get the receiver with the barrel already in it and the bolt and bolt carrier group and the gas tube, and that's about it. You have to get your own furniture, fire control parts, all the other things like that on your own. And the reason I wanted to do this and point it out is because I think if you're like me and you like to have your guns functional and fit a purpose for you and not everyone else or anyone else, then the barreled receiver route is a really good option to go. It lets you save a little bit of money, and that you're not buying a complete gun that's got furniture and stuff on it that you're just going to end up swapping out anyway. Why spend the money on that to begin with? Save the money, get the exact parts that you want on it, and go from there. It's a little, arguably a little more economical way to go. So additionally on this one, the way I put it together is just with a regular Magpul handguard set, a Magpul K-grip. I went with the Palmetto State Armory rear stock adapter and a Magpul SL Mo stock. Furniture wise, the reason I did that is I wanted to keep this one fairly simple, as just it's a fighting gun. That's what I wanted it to be. I like the balance that this one gives. I failed to mention previously on the barrel, so it's a 14.5, 14.7, I think it's 14.7 inch barrel with a pendant welded flash presser on it to make it 16. I really like this configuration, barrel and all that. The balance, the feel, just, I don't know. I gotta say too, Palmetto State Armory did a really good job on the gas on this one. It is not over gassed like a lot of them are, at least in my Mark I Motto shoulder's opinion. It's very smooth. The recoil and follow-up is very, very manageable. I mean, I've shot some AKs that were definitely noticeably over gassed. This one doesn't feel that way. Other things that I added, so it's got TWS rail top cover on it with their rear peep sight, primary arms Gen 2 1X Cyclops, and an ALG trigger group. Now, I originally was going to go with the, what is it? The boron, nickel boron coated trigger group, AK trigger group that PSA has. And things worked out where I was able to get this ALG trigger, so I did. I've still got the nickel boron trigger. I'm going to put it in one of my other AKs. I just haven't decided which one yet. I'll do a separate video just on that trigger group because, and why I originally wanted to put it in this gun was because I think that is a really, really good economical way to upgrade, per se, a stock GI type AK trigger. They're not expensive, not arguably more so than just a regular standard GI type trigger group, but I do like the feel of the nickel boron trigger group better. The ALG takes it to another level, and I want to preface this by saying, you guys know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm not a big trigger guy. Whether it be an AK or AR or whatever, stock GI trigger with a lot of rounds on it, to me, is one of my favorite triggers. I don't believe in spending a lot of money to get a super expensive fancy trigger, because for 90+% of us, that super fancy trigger ain't going to make any noticeable difference in your skill as a marksman. The fundamentals is what's going to increase your skill as a marksman and your effectiveness, and that requires proper training and proper practice and repetition. There's a point of diminishing returns when it comes to people trying to compensate for lack of skill by putting a whole lot of money into an expensive trigger group and expecting that to make them better as a shooter. Most people can't shoot that accurately to begin with compared to what they think the trigger is capable of. The only reason I got the ALG in this one is just because circumstances worked out and I was able to get it and didn't have to shell out as much money as you normally would for it. If it wouldn't have been for that, I would have stuck with the nickel boron one that I originally already had. But I wanted to try this one to see. And I fully admit, this is a nice trigger. It's not, as I understand it, there's 2 different AK triggers that ALG makes. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. I'm not up on all their stuff that much. I just know that this one is not the super light, oh, breathe on it and it goes off trigger. It's got more like a normal trigger pull to it, but it is lighter than a GI one, and it definitely has a bit of a crisper break and a really nice reset to it. So, and it's not super short on the reset, but it's not quite as long as what a standard GI trigger would be. If that makes sense to you, any of it that's handled a lot of those triggers. So the ALG trigger, I think, is a good option. I think the nickel boron one's probably overall a better option for most people, especially when you factor in cost and what you're getting for the cost. But I've got the ALG in this one, and I like it. I really do. Probably the only thing that I wish the ALG trigger had is I wish it had a steeper curvature to it, more like what a factory AK trigger has got. I actually like that deep curve that a GI AK trigger has got, and that's just me. As far as this gun itself, it has been plenty accurate just using rat grade Red Army Standard, and what else did he use? He used something else, and I don't have enough coffee in me to remember. But anyway, with just standard full metal jacket ammo, it's more accurate than what, again, me and 90+% of the population will be able to utilize in an actual fight. It is not a match grade quarter minute angle rifle. Didn't expect it to be, didn't intend for it to be, and don't care that it's not. It is more than capable of being a fighting rifle, which is what I wanted. I really, really like the TWS top cover. This is my second one. This is the newer generation. I'm going to do a separate video on this, so look for that to be coming not long after this. The rear peep sight is really nice. gives me a similar sight picture to what I am used to on years and years, decades and decades of AR use, which I really appreciate and like. I think this offers a lot of capability for the gun. Overall, this is probably going to be my go-to AK now. It's everything I've wanted out of an AK and then some. I'm gushing on it, I know, but I'm stupid excited about this one because I've got other AKs and I like them all, but if they were all laying in front of me and somebody said there's zombies coming down the street, we gotta go, which one you grabbing? It's most likely going to be this one, just because that's how much I like it. Now that I've sat here and gushed over it and I've told you how great it is, let's do the obligatory thing that I should not have to do and no one should have to do, but unfortunately we have to do because the internet's full of idiots. Palmetto State Armory did not pay me a dime to make this video. Nobody with any of these parts on here paid me a dime to make this video. They're not gonna pay me anything to make this video. If there are people getting paid to make videos, more power to them. I ain't one of them. I'm missing out on that gravy train somewhere, somehow. So there's idiots out there that think that everybody that says something good about a gun is getting paid, and I ain't getting paid. So there's that. Also, YouTube does weird things with its video suggestions sometimes, and it suggested one for me the other day that I watched. And this guy was literally talking about how PSA AKs are just all trash. And that anybody that says they're not trash is getting paid, or they don't know what they're talking about. And the funny thing that I find about that is, I mean, I make no claims to be an expert, but I've got quite a few years behind pulling the triggers and dealing with AKs, even back into the heyday when they were very plentiful and very cheap, and you could get Russian ones, Bulgarian ones, Chinese ones, Romanian ones, you name it. So I've got a fair amount of exposure to AKs. I've got multiple friends with far more experience than I do when it comes to AKs and knowledge, and they all have multiple PSA AKs just as I have multiple PSA AKs, and none of us seem to be having problems with them. And none of us are getting paid, so I guess that just means we're all stupid and don't know what we're talking about, because some random guy can get on YouTube with no experience or background of any kind and tell you that you don't know what you're talking about if you say something contrary to what his pet belief is. There's that. Why did we get down that rabbit hole? Because people are stupid, that's why. I apologize. It's a great gun. I like it. I'm using PSA magazines too. I've got the older gen PSA waffle mags and the new 103 style mags, 104 style. I've got both. They've all worked marvelously for me. I don't know what else to tell you. Again, as I said, this is kind of my final thoughts video back in here on this one. Now that I've got it like I want it, and it's not really my final thoughts, we all know that. We know there's going to be another video down the road on it because I go out and shoot my stuff and I like it, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Now that I've got it like I like it, I'll probably hit it with some more of the ubiquitous Krylon and get its actual party uniform on, and we're going to keep running it and go from there. So follow the link in the description to the blog. On the blog there will be links to all the things If you want to help the channel out, use those links. That's how you can help me out. Otherwise, I don't get anything. And if you don't want to help me out, that's fine too. This ain't my job. Again, description, link to the blog. Blog will have links to everything else. You can check it out from there. Most important thing, as always, is that you get prepared, get out and train and practice with whatever you have and get good with it. And I will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.